Story 1. At first, I hated it, but now it is how I cope. I have more energy than I used to. I find working out meditative for processing the day. It was hard to start and took several attempts, but now it is an important part of my mental health, which improves everything else in my life. Story 2. You can get exercise without making it a big deal. 30 minutes at home while listening to music or a podcast instead of sitting on the couch will make a significant difference. Story 3. You have it backwards. Exercise is not something you endure. It is what enables you to handle everything else. Story 4. When I was working 14-hour days, I would wake up at 3:30 a.m. and take a pre-workout supplement. At that point, I was fully committed. Being self-conscious also played a role. Story 5. I exercise 5 to 6 nights a week at home. I spend about $250 on a dumbbell set and bench so I could do it at home. We also have a treadmill. For me, having everything at home was a game changer. No commute eliminates an easy excuse. I work from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., come home, enjoy family activities, and then when my young son goes to bed at 8, I get my workout in. On weight training nights, I just move everything into the living room, which takes 2 minutes. Treadmill days are a quick 30 minutes and usually a 5-kilometer run. I'm not breaking any records, but it works for me. Consistency is key. Start small. Aim to run a mile a few nights a week and do this for about a month until it becomes part of your routine. Grab some weights and lift lighter until you develop your routine. Increase the weight once you're excited. If you dislike it on the first day, it's much easier to give up. Just try anything multiple times. A friend once told me, it's better to do something poorly than to not try at all. And short of risking injury, I believe that. Story 6. Eventually, it just becomes part of your day, and it feels strange to skip it, like brushing your teeth or taking a shower. That being said, I only exercise 4 days a week. I found that pushing myself too hard on 5 or more days leads to more injuries and less overall exercise time. Story 7. I started working out to achieve a desired physique, but now I do it more for the mental benefits. I always feel much more stable when I am physically active. Exercise has become just as essential as everything else I do to take care of myself, such as eating and sleeping. Story 8. It has to be part of your life, so you might have to make adjustments to create room for it. This may mean you don't stay up as late anymore, allowing you to wake up early to fit it in. Find a form of exercise that you enjoy. It will keep you motivated to continue. Story 9. When my mental health is good, I have no issue going to the gym or doing cardio almost every day. When my mental health is bad, I stop working out, which only worsens my condition. However, when I get back into working out, everything improves. At this point, it is easier to maintain a daily workout routine. Exercise significantly helps me manage life's responsibilities. Story 10. I work out 5 to 6 times per week. Staying motivated is tough. It helps that I genuinely feel better and sleep better when I work out. Since I gain weight just by looking at food, I need to exercise to keep the tire around my middle from getting overly inflated. Story 11. The gym is how I cope. It's the only time my mind is at peace. I have days off now, but before, when I was home all the time, I would take an extended lunch break or go right after work. It just becomes non-negotiable. Story 12. I practice yoga poses throughout the day and night while relaxing. I also take a 15-minute daily walk on the treadmill. Being older, it helps me stay limber and feel good. Story 13. My job is quite physical, so I get all my exercise at work. However, one of my coworkers goes to the gym every day after he finishes work. His motivation and desire to become even fitter drive him, and despite his busy life, he perfectly incorporates it into his schedule. Story 14. If you work out most days, you will have more energy for everything else than if you simply relax. You will feel like you have more time because it is not difficult to accomplish everything. Story 15. I recently started exercising. Having never exercised consistently, my approach is to focus on making it part of my daily routine, even if it's just 15 minutes. I am not trying to make a lot of progress right away. In the past, I would dive headfirst into anything new, but it was never sustainable. Now, my mindset is to take small steps and not be too hard on myself. I believe that's a better foundation for developing a habit. Story 16. It's challenging to balance a full-time job with family responsibilities. However, as the saying goes, the workout you do is better than the workouts you miss. In other words, walking for just 15 minutes is better than doing nothing. We all fill our 24 hours in various ways. Regular exercise often requires reducing other activities. You just have to determine what that is for you. Story 17. Yes, it is part of my daily routine, and not doing it would feel strange. It makes me more alert and ready for my day. As I wake up at 5 a.m., I feel better when I do it. Do I love waking up that early? No, but I never regret it once I am done. It takes time to get into that mindset if you are inclined, but I enjoy it. Story 18. I get up at 6, start my workouts at 7, and I am done by 8, which gives me enough time for a shower and to start working. You can always reconcile it. Just think about the amount of time you spend watching television, playing games, procrastinating, or scrolling through social media. You can always find an hour somewhere. Story 19. Working out is my sanctuary. Everything I need to deal with in life comes to me within those four walls. Do I enjoy it? Absolutely not. However, I cannot think of anything else that provides me with the energy to manage all aspects of life, both mentally and physically. Story 20. This is the life anchor around the neck that is attention deficit disorder. I can only fulfill and maintain a limited number of life requirements consistently at the same time. These include working at full capacity, providing an enriching relationship for my spouse, eating 3 healthy meals every day, exercising for at least 1 hour per day, 3 days a week, visiting my elderly parent for at least 1 hour on 2 visits per week, communicating with at least 3 close friends once a week, and arranging to meet up with at least 2 different friends once a week. It's all just a bit too much. Story 21. I consider myself an avid runner. I ran mostly in the mornings during my college years and throughout my 20s. Now, in my later 30s, I run in the afternoons or evenings due to work, school, and hobbies. Afterward, my partner and I cook dinner and spend a couple of hours together or gaming in separate rooms. I plan my week ahead of time and schedule my workouts around my wife's and children's activities. You just have to plan well if it's your priority, and being healthy very much is. Story 22. There is a gym in my office building, and I use my lunch hours to work out. It helps that it is part of my regular work schedule instead of an additional chore after work. Story 23. I go 3 times a week to the gym for approximately 1 hour. In summer, I also go mountain biking locally sometimes, but not every day. I have an office job in the European Union that requires 40 hours a week, and it truly is 40 hours. There can be busier weeks occasionally, but I can fully compensate that time by taking a day off. So it indeed is 40 hours a week. I also have a child, but there are 2 parents, so we can switch days or times. I start work very early, so I can leave early. I fully agree that exercise, especially strength training, is essential for optimal health, including mental health. The brain knows when you are not active. However, for weight loss, it's 90% about the food. If that is your goal and you are tight on time, focus on the food. Avoid processed foods completely and cook all your meals. In terms of gym workouts, you can also do a short daily routine. 30 minutes, as others have said, can make a significant difference. For example, do squats, overhead presses, and barbell rows on day 1, and bench presses, deadlifts, and pull-ups or lat pull-downs on day 2. That fits into 30 minutes and will have a big impact on your conditioning. Story 24. The majority of days, I do a short 15-minute routine at home before taking a shower. It mainly consists of bodyweight exercises. Story 25. It is strange to say, and I never used to understand when people said this, but the gym is now a non-negotiable positive staple in my day. I have never once regretted going. I leave feeling better physically and mentally every time. Additionally, I look a lot better since I started lifting weights. I work 6 to 8 hours a day, and then I go to the gym without thinking much about it. Since I enjoy it, I spend anywhere from 60 to 100 minutes there, but you would be fine going for 30 to 45 minutes 3 to 4 times a week. The bottom line is that when something is important, you make a way. Story 26. Being productive in life is learning to stop coping and start doing. The world doesn't change, you have to. Story 27. I work out every day as part of my daily routine. I work from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., go to the gym around 6:30 p.m. until about 8 p.m., and then I relax, usually playing video games until midnight. Since I am not currently dating anyone, I have time to manage everything. However, gaming may need to take a back seat if I decide to start dating. Story 28. I'm in my early 30s and I work out about 3 to 4 times a week, in addition to my physically demanding job. The job alone wasn't enough for me to achieve the fitness level I desire. The extra exercise has led to great improvements. I manage this by getting enough sleep and maintaining a healthy diet. Being young probably contributes to my progress as well. In my opinion, the rewards are significant. Initially, it may be challenging to adjust, but over time, you begin to crave the regular intense exercise. Story 29. I usually either work out or swim during my lunch break, trying to do it at least 3 times a week, more if it is not a very busy week. I also have other sports activities on the weekends with friends. Not only has it been great to get in shape, but I have also found that I am more focused in the afternoon. Story 30. I commute by bicycle. Commuting takes time either way, but when I use my bicycle, I can utilize that time for exercise as well. Story 31. I go to the gym twice a week before work. My workday starts at 10 a.m., so I get up at 7:30 a.m. to have time for my coffee, go to the gym for 40 minutes, shower, and be ready on time for work. Story 32. Do not try to do everything at once. Break tasks into smaller parts and tackle one at a time. When you are focused on exercising, do not let the other stressors of daily life distract you. Following a 30-day or 7-day plan can provide a sense of an end goal. Story 33. I am not a morning person. You can't get me out of bed before 9. However, I eat well and go for a walk after dinner as often as I can. I also do some weight exercises in the evening since that's when I feel my best. I am doing more than the average person to maintain my health, and that's what matters. It is important to find something you can consistently do for yourself. Story 34. Do something every day. Work out first thing in the morning. There is less chance of something interfering with your workout time. Story 35. I force myself to stay active. With 2 kids and a wife, there is some sort of sports activity for one of the kids every day, and sometimes I work out late. Right now, I just got home from the kids' practice and went straight to the workout area in my house to get a quick workout in before dinner. Then I will shower, watch some TV, and go to bed. This is my routine every day or every other day, and I'm still not in shape by my standards. Story 36. The gym is close to home, and my workouts usually last 40 minutes. When I include showering and getting back home, it totals about 1 hour. It is not a waste if it makes you feel good. Story 37. Make it a priority. Everyone has different motivations. Some enjoy the feeling of a good workout, some dislike their bodies, some want to be attractive for dating or their partner, and some want to avoid early mortality. It doesn't matter what the factor is, but it must be stronger than competing priorities. I would rather exercise than work late most days, even if I know tomorrow will be difficult. I would rather exercise than watch 4 hours of television after work. I would rather exercise than repaint my house. I'll save that for a rest day. Also, I don't have children. That will likely change things unless I want to start waking up at 5 a.m. Story 38. I work a full-time job and lift weights for 2 hours every night. I enjoy it and it's fun for me. If I didn't find it enjoyable, I wouldn't do it. It's that simple. Find a way to make it enjoyable. Story 39. I occasionally miss workouts due to other commitments, but I generally exercise every day. My wife and I work out together. After work, we go to Planet Fitness and do either arm day or leg day, followed by a cool down on the treadmill. After that, we use the massage chairs. Then we go home, make dinner, relax, and go to bed. Story 40. I have a schedule and the discipline to stick to it. I work out 3 days a week. I bench press and squat during my workouts. I also recently spent $500 to buy a rack for use at home. I'm not wasting time or money going to a gym. Story 41. I work out 1 to 3 times a week, with a minimum of at least once. When I do work out, I commit myself fully, and I would say it has worked out great. I have no complaints. Story 42. I wake up at 4:40 on weekdays. I work out from 5 to 6 and then start my day. On weekends, I work out at various times. I prefer to go first thing in the morning because otherwise I wouldn't go. Story 43. As a divorced single parent with shared custody in the mid-2010s, I was in the best shape of my life and managing well. Nowadays, remarried in a high-stress job and navigating the challenges of the post-COVID era, I find it much more difficult. Story 44. Do something else while you work out to distract yourself. I read a book while on the treadmill or play a video game when I'm on my bicycle on a stationary bike stand. Story 45. It's hard, and I'm exhausted, but I do it because I know my body deserves to be cared for. I aim for 5 days a week with at least a walk on the other days. I usually work out before work. I work from 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. in a hybrid arrangement with a 30-minute commute 2 to 3 times a week. I sleep from 9:30 or 10 p.m. to between 6 o'clock and 6:30 a.m. I usually work out at 7 a.m. The gym is a 5-minute walk away. We made that a priority when we moved and adjusted our budget to afford it. I try to work out 1 or 2 of the days I'm in the office. I prioritize working out when I'm less exhausted from commuting. Story 46. That's me. I only work 30 hours a week at my day job, so I have 3 days off. One of these is a pure rest day with no exercise, which in itself is a form of recovery. Rest days build muscle. On the other 2 days off, I go bouldering. On work days, I go to the gym either before or after work, depending on my schedule. I genuinely love the gym. I do cardio and lift weights, it's my therapy. I feel euphoric when I'm sweating and lifting, and it removes all stress from my mind, providing complete mental peace. Without the gym, I'd be lost and would have to lift patio furniture outside or something. Story 47. You have to make time. You will never find it. It has to become a habit and something you commit to doing most days. Change your sleep schedule to go to bed earlier so you can wake up and do it before work, or the opposite. It may mean missing some family events and less leisure time. It's a consistent commitment to trade some quality of life for improved quantity of life. Story 48. The gym is how I cope, to be honest. I fit in 45 to 80 minutes before work 5 days a week, and it makes me happier. Story 49. I try to include physical activity in various aspects of my life to accomplish multiple tasks. I used to commute by bike or walk to public transportation when I worked in an office. Now, I walk with my husband or we go to the gym together, combining social time with physical activity. Last year, I injured my foot while hiking, which limited my walking and gym activities. To adapt, I started playing video games while on the stationary bike, turning my bike time into gaming time. Story 50. Sometimes you can combine work and physical exercise if your job involves physical activity. Spend 30 minutes doing physical tasks at your job, and you have completed the recommended half-hour of exercise per week. Additionally, take 6 5-minute breaks to get up and move around throughout the week to meet this requirement. Story 51. I work out 3 to 4 hours daily because I have inconsistent jobs in different unstable, highly competitive industries. Story 52. Yes, I do not view it as having to cope with work, life, and exercise. I see it as a way of managing life and work. An hour in the gym, a run, or a sport can give you more energy, reduce stress, clear your mind, improve sleep, and enhance your overall well-being, especially if you work a sedentary office job. Sitting at a computer for long hours and then going home to watch television is not what your body is designed for. I am not extremely fit and I do not spend every day in the gym, maybe 3 to 4 times a week for an hour. As I mentioned, I engage in exercise as a way to cope with stress. I am not aiming to win Olympic medals anytime soon. Story 53. I wake up early and work out before going to the office. By the time I am in the car, I forget that I even took the time to exercise. I can't do it after work because I am too tired. Story 54. If I exercise, I think more clearly, and it saves me time in completing my work. An hour workout before the day starts means I get more done in 7 hours than in 8 hours, and it's not even close. I like to cycle. Story 55. Working out is how I cope with work and life. I exercise 5 to 10 hours a week because it keeps me motivated. Instead of watching movies or TV shows, I go to the gym or attend a yoga class. It's all about how you frame it. Story 56. If you find a fun, exercise-oriented hobby, it becomes much easier to stay active. I used to find exercise boring and felt like it was a waste of time until I got into mountain biking. Now, instead of exercising to prolong my healthy life, it feels like I live to mountain bike. Having friends who also participate in your sport makes it even easier to stay active. Additionally, if you're primarily focused on health benefits, studies show that social sports lead to better health outcomes. So, it's likely beneficial to invite your friends to join you in some type of sport, allowing you to enjoy exercise, socialization, and improved health all at once. Story 57. Early morning is the best time for exercise. Make it a habit to get up early and practice moving your body. Use it or lose it. Story 58. Every 2 days, I get home from work with my son and I work out with weights. You should pick up those weights as soon as you get home. Focus on your workout before doing anything else. That's the only way. If you're going to sit down and watch television for half an hour, you could be standing up and lifting weights the whole time. Story 59. I have been going to the gym 4 to 6 times a week for 19 years now. My work schedule allows me more free time than the average person, which probably helps a bit. Story 60. I used to think that if I worked out, I wouldn't have much time to finish work and get other things done. I reached close to 270 pounds this year and decided to start working out. I began with rope skipping and shadow boxing for 20 minutes each day. Then I realized that I had more energy throughout the day. Because of my workouts, I am getting things done faster. Story 61. I need to exercise to feel okay. If I go a couple of weeks without exercising for any reason, I start feeling anxious and experience worsening insomnia. So, it is something I prioritize. I am married with a child, and this is also important to my husband, so we ensure to give each other time to exercise. I spend half an hour to an hour on the exercise bike, along with some light lifting, a minimum of 3 days, but preferably 5 to 6 days a week. This is how I cope with life. Story 62. It's less time going from the office to the gym and working out than sitting in traffic and finally reaching home. After a while, it becomes routine and you enjoy it. Use it as a way to decompress. Story 63. Right now, I am riding my bicycle to work, then back home for lunch, and then back to work. Finally, I will return home at the end of the day. In total, I will be cycling for about 45 minutes in 10 to 12-minute intervals. Story 64. I have 2 young children and work full-time, with a few late nights each week. I also produce music on the side and lift weights 6 days a week. I have about 2 hours between the time the kids go to bed and when I either go to bed or start my night shift, and I use one of those hours to lift weights. Having a well-equipped home gym definitely helps. Before I had the house and kids, I would go to the gym at 5 a.m. Story 65. Wake up at 4 a.m. I am back home by 6 a.m. There's plenty of time to hang out, eat breakfast, and have a cup of coffee before work. Story 66. The rumor is that once you get into a workout rhythm, it becomes a way to manage the stress from life and work. It also improves your health, allowing you to enjoy the rest of your time more fully. Story 67. If I don't lift a minimum of 5 days a week, I quickly become suicidal. It's easy to make time for it when my mental health depends on it. Story 68. I think it is important to have workouts built into your weekly schedule, just like your job, whether it is 9 to 5 or other hours. No matter what, you should prioritize going to that workout class or taking 30 minutes out of your day to walk around your neighborhood. If you don't include that in your schedule, you will always find excuses to skip it. My workout coach often says, "This 50 minutes in this room is the only time you don't have to think about what is happening outside. This is your time, And honestly, this is very true nowadays. Story 69. If I didn't work out 4 days a week, my mental health would crumble. So I wake up at 5 a.m. and deal with it. Espresso helps. Story 70. I do 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats, and run 8.8 miles every single day. Today was day 334. It's easy for me. I'm just built different. Story 71. Make it a routine. If you can maintain it for 30 days, you will feel worse for not working out than the struggle you experienced in the beginning. Story 72. The easiest way is to find an activity you enjoy that requires movement. My motivation is that I feel very down when I take breaks from working out. Story 73. I struggled with work and fitness. By the end of the day, I just couldn't continue. However, now that I have semi-retired, going to the gym has become a pleasure. For the other 55 years of my life, it was not among my top priorities. I feel great, I'm stronger, and I'm meeting new people. Story 74. I work out for 30 minutes in the morning at 4:30 a.m. I get the kids ready, go to work, and then swim for a few miles after work. Working out is essential for me, so I always make time for it. Sometimes I'm sick or too tired, but I work out at least once a day. It's not about being skinny, but about being healthy in mind and body. I love the after-work swim to decompress and think about tomorrow, and the morning workout energizes me for the day. Story 75. I can usually get in an elliptical workout during the workday while working from home. I'll have my phone and keep up with Microsoft Teams or take my computer to the basement and listen to some continuing education webinars. My husband does his 45-minute workout at around 7:30 or 8 o'clock. He rests, showers, and is relaxing in front of the television by 9:30. Story 76. My primary form of exercise is dance, in all its styles. It is incredibly healing and therapeutic for me. Additionally, I engage in activities such as cardio, weightlifting, and stretching to enhance my dancing. Dancing throughout the week helps me cope with the stress and chaos of life, as well as my demanding job. It is not something I struggle with. Rather, it is the very thing that supports me. Dancing serves as a hobby, a community, a creative outlet, a release, and so much more. During the weeks when I cannot dance, I notice that I become more stressed and overwhelmed with life and work. I encourage everyone to find a form of exercise that is fun and liberating for them. That way, it will bring you joy. Story 77. I started going to the gym on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Don't even ask yourself if you're going to the gym tonight. You just know that you go every Tuesday and Thursday. It becomes a way to break up the monotony of the week. If you have to miss a day, that's okay. Just make sure you go the next time. It works even better if you can get a friend on the same schedule. Eventually, when you miss a day, you'll actually feel sad that you can't go. That's your sign to add a weekend workout as well. You'll notice your sleep improves, and it's fun watching your weights get heavier. Because you enjoy tracking your gains, you start prioritizing protein in your diet. You might also track calories to ensure you're getting enough. Soon, you'll be seeing real results and people will say you look good. You might want to add a fourth day to your week. Start small. Progress. Enjoy it. Story 78. Incorporate martial arts, and you must structure by the minute and ensure you fulfill your responsibilities. Story 79. Once you get past the initial soreness that starting a workout routine gives, which usually lasts 1 to 2 months, I find that exercising provides me with energy for the day. Story 80. At least 30 minutes, 5 days a week. After so many years, I feel annoyed or frustrated if I don't get a workout in. I was only able to start doing it so frequently when I got the adjustable dumbbells and a bench for my home. Story 81. Most nights I work, run errands, exercise, study, and go to bed. I enjoy having fun on the weekends. I am single and live alone, also working in a hybrid environment. I believe this will change if and when I start a family. Story 82. I walk almost daily, usually right after work and then after dinner. I try to fit in a walk before work or during my lunch break if possible. All those minutes add up and I walk quite fast. It's not a strolling pace. I do not make it to the gym every day. but I go 2 to 3 times per week because I enjoy moving my body. If I don't, I feel discomfort. I also ice skate once a week, which is very enjoyable and fun, despite being exercise. Finding movement you enjoy is really the key. The rest of my workouts are at home, usually consisting of flexibility and mobility exercises. Story 83. Sometimes I go to the gym after work for a workout. Other times I wait for it to get dark. Then I go for a 1.5 to 2 hour walk, listen to music, and enjoy my own world during that time to reset my mind. How do I manage to do all this? Being single at 38 with no children definitely helps. Story 84. I don't work out every day, but generally every other day. Sometimes it will be several days between workouts depending on my current work schedule. Health and well-being are very important to me, so I make it a point to prioritize this, even when I don't feel like it. Story 85. Do people actually work out day to day? Yes. How do you cope with work, life, and exercise all at once? I make the most of every possible moment I can. Story 86. I don't. But I try to live life as actively as possible. I walk quickly, park far from the store, walk to places when I have time, and take the stairs instead of elevators, stepping 2 to 3 stairs at a time. Story 87. At one point, I lived on my grandparents' farm and would wake up at 4 a.m. to feed the cattle. Then, I would go to the gym for 1.5 to 2 hours before heading to school for the next 8 hours. After school, I would rush home, feed the cattle again, and then hurry to my next job, which was 30 minutes away. I would come home late, sleep, and then repeat this routine every weekday. Weekends were my rest days, but I would still lift weights on the farm. I would spend time in the fields, milk the cows, or work on construction projects around the farm. That was pretty much all I did. I could have quit the gym for more sleep, but I need the gym. I built the rest of my schedule around it. Story 88. My workouts are my refuge. I make time for them for my physical and mental health, and they positively impact the more stressful aspects of life, such as work, relationships, and parenthood. Perhaps consider reframing how you think about working out, not just as another chore to fit in, but as active self-care. Story 89. Treat it as something non-negotiable, like showering or brushing your teeth. You do not need to be excessively devoted to the gym to have a workout routine. With perhaps a several-month lull every 4 or 5 years whenever life gets in the way, I have been working out consistently for the last 20 years. It started as a way to compensate for being a sensitive teenage boy by trying to become tough, but it quickly transformed into a healthy habit that I cannot live without. My body feels angry and starts to deteriorate during one of those periods of inactivity. It significantly impacts my mental health when I appreciate what I see in the mirror. Exercise is non-negotiable. Story 90. I spread my activities throughout the day. I stretch when I wake up, do 5 minutes of resistance training while my coffee brews, and engage in 5 minutes of high-intensity cardio at lunch when I feel sluggish from sitting all morning. I also do half an hour of moderate-intensity cardio while watching the evening news, along with various other activities. I aim to do one big, enjoyable activity per week, such as hiking, skiing, or climbing, but it doesn't always work out. Story 91. Working out can become addictive. I go through periods of not exercising, but when I do, I find myself working out twice a day, in the morning and in the evening, because it feels so good. Story 92. I get up an hour earlier than usual, so I can spend 30 to 45 minutes in the gym before cleaning up and heading to work. At lunch, I walk for 15 minutes after eating. This routine is followed 5 days a week. On Saturday, I wake up at the same time as during the work week for a training session with a personal trainer, which is money well spent to learn new and better exercises. On Sunday, I wake up an hour later than usual to train for my sport, rowing. Seems like a lot, but without it, I feel terrible. Interestingly, I don't have the same energy to cope with a day of work. There are days when I might rest due to interrupted sleep, being sick, or simply needing a day off. You make time for things that are important to you. I am married, have children, and work full-time. The only time I can carve out for myself is usually when everyone else is still in bed. Story 93. It's a priority for my well-being and has also become a hobby. I have dogs of a highly active breed, which is essential for both my sanity and theirs. This is simply part of my daily chores. I don't have children, so my activities outside of work are predictable and manageable. My house stays clean, laundry is minimal, and I meal prep once a week. Occasionally, I hire someone for landscaping, and every 3 to 4 months, I have a cleaning service come in for a deep clean. Story 94. Just need to make a habit out of it. Find exercises you enjoy doing. Working out with others always helps keep you motivated and accountable. Story 95. It doesn't take long to get a workout in. Just 30 minutes and you're done. Feeling strong and healthy helps you cope with the rest of your life. Story 96. I'll be honest, my workplace has a gym on the ground floor, and that makes a significant difference in my motivation to exercise most days. Sometimes I get long breaks, so I work out during that time, and other times I stay late at work. It's easy to just go downstairs and start working out. We also have showers available. At previous jobs, I would go home and sit on the couch after work, but I found that once I was home, my motivation disappeared, and I'd be inactive for the rest of the night. So, the best case scenario is to have a gym at your workplace. The second best option is to bring your gym clothes to work and go to the gym on your way home. Do not go home first and relax. The third option is to build a home gym. The fourth option is, once you get home, do not sit down. Immediately change out of your work clothes into your exercise clothes, get back in your car, and go to the gym. Story 97. I got 17,000 steps at work today, so at least I'm burning calories on the days I'm too tired to work out. Story 98. Training is my way of coping with life stressors. Sometimes it's all I have control over. At the beginning of the week, I pack everything I need for the week in my car and head straight to the gym after work. Story 99. I wake up every day at 4:30 a.m. to fit everything in. If it matters to you, you will make time. I've been doing this for 5 years now, and it just becomes normal after a while. Story 100. I work out 6 days a week. I started my fitness journey last year and lost 40 pounds in 8 months by exercising at home. I get tired, but I have made it a challenge. Sometimes, there are days when I wish I could take a break because I have so much going on. I keep myself motivated with monthly challenges, which involve working out with different fitness influencers each month. Depending on their program, I sometimes get an extra day or 2 off. The goal is to finish the entire playlist in the same month I start it. Story 101. It gets easier the more you do it. I recently got back on track. I go to the gym after 12-hour shifts, and I really have to motivate myself to show up, but it's worth it. Health is wealth. Story 102. I fit walking into my commute, so I get a good amount of walking, about 5 miles every day, which is an underrated form of exercise. I also occasionally do low-impact workouts at home with light dumbbells, resistance bands, and kettlebells. I may not do enough, but I consistently engage in a medium amount of exercise, and I am happy with it. Story 103. I'm trying. It's hard because my job is very physically demanding and I bike to work. I can't use energy drinks or pre-workout supplements because I have epilepsy. Story 104. Don't make it a ritualistic process to go. Just do it. You don't need new clothes, a fancy watch, or shoes. You don't need to hype yourself up or look good before you go. Just go, do the work, and leave. Story 105. You change your lifestyle. How many days a week do you work out? The answer is all of them. You always go unless you are forced to crash in bed when you get home, but you are back the next day. The truth is, some days just can't happen. You may be overly tired or have plans after work. However, you go every day unless you are physically unable or have a scheduling conflict. Story 106. Even half an hour of moderate exercise will make the world slow down for you. Everything becomes easier. You don't need to change the world, but you should do it nearly every day. Story 107. I don't know how people deal with life without having some sort of physical outlet. Powerlifting, golf, and jiu-jitsu have helped me through every difficult situation I've faced. Story 108. Inputting my goals and what I want to achieve during the month into AI has helped me immensely. Story 109. I work out for 90 minutes a day, 6 days a week. It's manageable when you're disciplined and don't have children. I work from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., exercise from 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m., and then spend the rest of the night on dinner, chores, hobbies, and socializing. I go to bed around 2 a.m., which gives me 6 hours of free time after working out to focus on my life. I follow the same routine every day except on my off day. Story 110. I found a gym close to my work, and my commute home right after work can be a bit long. By working out for about an hour, the traffic is usually gone by the time I'm done, and my drive home takes half the time. Overall, I end up getting home about 30 to 45 minutes later than I normally would due to the smoother commute. Here's my advice. Don't overthink it. My daily goal is simply to drive to the gym, that's it. If I sit there on my phone for a bit to decompress and then go home, that's okay. If someone calls me to get groceries or go grab a drink after work, that's okay. All I have to do is drive to the gym. I don't need to plan an elaborate workout. However, once you're there, most of the time you'll decide to do a quick workout. Furthermore, once you're working out, it is likely that you'll gain the motivation to push a little harder or work out a little longer. Small steps, don't overthink it, start by simply going. Story 111. I have been doing it for quite some time, but I completely stopped over the past few months. Additionally, I'm getting older, and my commute to work is longer, which leaves me feeling mentally and physically exhausted. Story 112. I started a new office job, so I began searching for exercises I can do in a few-minute intervals, such as squats and push-ups. If I am working late, I go directly to the gym after work. My workouts are generally short but high intensity. I also have a few light weights at home. Story 113. I sleep better and feel happier when I get outside and exercise. I often use my bicycle for some or all of my commute since I work from different locations. If I don't bike, I go for a lunchtime or evening cycle or run, depending on daylight and temperature. I don't have kids, so I have more free time than I would otherwise. Story 114. There is no coping. It's a normal part of the day, like having dinner. The endorphins it releases mean that if I skip it for long enough, I start noticing my mood is affected. Story 115. Pick the most convenient gym, not the fanciest. Accept that giving 50% is better than 0% on the days you don't feel motivated, and that 20 minutes is still valid. Sometimes all you need to do is put on your workout clothes, and the rest will follow. I recently got a turbo trainer for my bike at home, so on days I don't feel like exercising immediately after work, I can decompress a little during my commute and then enjoy a 30-minute ride in peace and quiet at home. Story 116. My best life choice was getting a physical job. I have never worked out or dieted, and I have lost 105 pounds in the last 3 years. There is no need to work out after work if my job is already a workout. Story 117. The exercise helps break up the day. You don't have to go long, but doing something can make a difference. Go for a walk, go for a short run, or follow a good stretching routine. You can even break it up throughout the day if your goal is to be more active. It will always depend on your objectives, but it makes a difference over time, and you will feel better overall. I started getting back to regular stretching, and the difference is noticeable with some aches that have emerged as I've gotten older. Best of luck. Story 118. Yes, once you do it for a few months, it becomes a routine like brushing your teeth and showering. I am fortunate to have a hybrid job with split time zones, so I take 2 to 3 hours between these shifts to get my workouts done. I average 4 times a week. During my worst week, I've still managed to get at least one workout in. Story 119. I started doing hot yoga 4 days a week. At first, it took some adjustment to get used to doing something after work. Now, I need it to cope. My mental health has improved because of it, and I don't drink on the weekends anymore. Hot yoga with a hangover is not great. My 2 favorite side effects are 1. I no longer get random injuries like waking up in pain for no reason, and 2. I have lost about 25 pounds. Story 120. It depends on how much you work. When I was working from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., I had no problem going to the gym afterward. I went 4 times a week. These days, I'm working from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. I barely have the energy afterward to make dinner. Story 121. I believe it really comes down to what working out means to you. You can always incorporate exercise into your life at home for 30 minutes or more, depending on how much you want to exercise. I think the general idea that you have to go to the gym to work out is why many people feel it is difficult to achieve balance in their lives. Story 122. High-functioning depression makes me feel like I have to stay busy. Otherwise, negative thoughts creep in. I love to exercise, don't get me wrong, but sometimes I want to rest too. It's a great way to relieve stress. Story 123. I live in Berlin, so please note that being in Western Central Europe means that many office workers have flexible hours. I go to the office or work from home around 8:30 or 9 o'clock and leave around 4 p.m. I schedule my workouts at 5 p.m., including yoga and strength training. We have incredible public transit here with good connections. I do this 4 times a week, and it has become second nature to me, like eating and breathing. Story 124. 5 to 6 days a week. I do it before work, usually around 8 a.m. It's just part of my routine now. I am lucky to have grown-up kids, no dog to walk, and no commute. If I had to work in an office, I wouldn't go at all. The biggest benefit of working from home for me is that flexibility. Story 125. My apartment complex has a gym, and it is always empty. I have seen a maximum of 3 people there at the same time since I moved in. It is much easier to work out regularly when the gym is 30 seconds away and there is no one around using the machines. Story 126. I ride to work. I use the gym at my workplace when I can. I feel exhausted at the end of the week, but it is worse if I don't exercise. Story 127. You need to stop thinking that you require 4 hours a day to sit around and watch television, engage in inappropriate activities, and play video games. You have plenty of time to do things that benefit you. Story 128. I try to get exercise by doing things I would do anyway. I ride my child places in a cargo bike, which is more enjoyable and provides good exercise, even if it takes a bit longer. When I was commuting by bike, it was easier to get plenty of exercise, but I'm glad I am not doing that anymore due to daycare pickups and similar responsibilities. Story 129. I work 8 hours a day and commute 1 hour in total. The gym is a 10-minute walk away. Considering 8 hours of sleep, my remaining 7 hours are sufficient for cooking, eating, cleaning, working out, and relaxing. Story 130. I work out 5 days a week, from Monday to Friday. I get to the gym at 6 a.m. to get it out of the way and spend 1.5 hours there. I start work at 8 a.m. After that, the rest of the day is yours. Story 131. I bought an exercise bike, but I find I am not motivated at all to work out at home. I just joined an upscale gym, hoping it will motivate me more. I work mostly nights and have been going in the mornings after a shift. I have mostly been swimming, but I have started to really enjoy it. Story 132. I work out 3 to 4 times a week, but only for about 35 minutes. I do it because it gives me the energy to thrive. Story 133. I often work double shifts and 7-day weeks. I have a daughter I see regularly, and I still find time to train for strongman competitions. Although I struggle with lack of sleep at times and may not be the most efficient, I prioritize financial stability now that I am 36, not 26 anymore. If your goal is fitness and cardio, you can usually find 30 to 40 minutes in your day. You just need to sacrifice something for the long-term benefits. Story 134. Somehow, people wake up at 6 a.m., lift heavy things, go to work, cook, and sleep as if it's normal. Me? I walk upstairs and need a recovery period. Story 135. Recently, I have been seeing a lifestyle coach for advice on diet and exercise to help me lose weight. We discussed how difficult it is for me to get proper exercise around my work hours while working from home. I take the dog for a walk every day, but as he gets older, he often cuts walks short. We also agreed on targeting 8,000 steps per day instead of the common goal of 10,000. I was recommended to try shorter bursts of exercise rather than one longer session. This includes going for a 20-minute walk to clear my head after a morning meeting, taking the dog out for a walk, and then having another short walk after dinner. I previously bought a small treadmill for the front room, and I have now gotten into the habit of using it while watching television. The average animated episode lasts about 24 minutes, including credits, so I will play one and walk for the duration. Otherwise, just walking without doing something else to keep me engaged is boring. I only started this routine about a month ago, so I haven't seen any major results yet. However, I have noticed that I am getting a lot more steps in than I used to. Story 136. 30 minutes is my goal for 4 times a week. When I'm motivated, I can easily do 45 minutes because 30 minutes goes by quickly once you start. Even if I only work out 3 times a week, I am fine with that. My body looks amazing with a pair of dumbbells weighing 10 kilograms each and an indoor cycle. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.